All right, thank you for watching. This video here is about complications. In particular, I want to spread a little light on a company that I think doesn't get that much attention, and that's IWC, the International Watch Company. Today, I'm joined with my son, the Stormtrooper. You want to say what's up?
What's up, guys?
Right, and he's going to help make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, so IWC was started by Florentine Jones. He was an American, just like me, living in Boston, Massachusetts. He was a watchmaker there, and he was apprenticing there until just before the Civil War. A Civil War happened. He served in the Union Army, and shortly thereafter, he went to Switzerland in 1868 to seek his fame and fortune. He goes over there to Schaffhausen with the idea of setting up a factory on the banks of the Rhine River, and the whole point was to make wristwatches for the American market. So after setting up the company, he sells it in 1876, comes back to the United States, and unfortunately, shortly thereafter files for bankruptcy. With that being said, I want to talk about some of my favorite complications they have here. Now, don't forget, if you watch my other video, you know that complications are anything other than standard time telling, anything other than a three-hander, as we say. So I want to talk about 4 complications that IWC does very well: a Worldtimer, Retrograde Display, mechanical depth gauge, and also double-digit large date display. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is the double-digit display, which I love because most times on like a date just or date only watch, you'll get the date. Here they gave you 2. Why not do it? I mean, that's the definition of luxury. I love it. Yeah, you could do it on 1, but it's a little bit harder to do it on 2. So I love how they did that. The Portofino here, their hand-wind model, shows like a great execution of this complication. The next complication I want to talk about is the mechanical depth gauge, which is something that I haven't seen that often. So the way this works is that the watch will keep track of your maximum depth as well as your current depth. So if you want to see that later, I think it's a great conversation piece. Let's say you go out to the Caribbean, you go on a dive, you get back to the office, if your max depth is still set, I mean, that's a talking point, right? I love it. Mechanical depth gauge. The other complication I want to talk about is the retrograde display. So the idea here is you have a hand that's keeping track of the month, is counting from 1 to 31, and then when it gets down back to 31, goes back up. Retrograde. Now they have this on their Portuguese tourbillon, but again, it's an unusual complication. You don't see it that much. Vacheron uses it. I love it on their model as well. And last but not least, the final complication I want to talk about is the Worldtimer, which I love the Worldtimer because it shows you all the times and all the places. The way this works is you set the current time, UTC, and it'll show you other times around the world. It's not going to show everything, but it'll show most of them. So this is something that's very handy, and they have this in their pilot watch, the Worldtimer. So thanks for watching again. In this video, I showed you the Portofino and the double-digit complication. I showed you the IWC Portuguese tourbillon and the retrograde complication. I showed you the mechanical depth gauge and the IWC Deep 3 watch, and also the Worldtimer and the pilot's watch. Thanks for watching. Stormtrooper, got anything you want to say before we go?
Bye, people.
Oh yeah, I like that.